All right. Hello. What's up, Mr. Ippolito students? This is Mr. Ippolito, and I designed this Constitution Digital Interactive Notebook. I did get some help on it. I have to admit, I didn't create it myself. Got it from another source, but I've been kind of tweaking it, adapting it, changing it over the last couple of years. And this year, I decided to go ahead and give you the opportunity to really work independently, that I'm going to create this instructional video for you and take you page by page, slide by slide, so that you understand how to do each one of these assignments. So starting off here on page 1, obviously the only thing you need to do on here is just put your name and just fill in this blank. You're just going to double click this and put in your class period. So that's all you need to do for page 1. We're now moving on to page 2. So on page 2, this is the Constitution Illustrated Vocabulary. What you're going to do here is you're going to, in your own words, you're going to type a definition of what you think this term means, and then you're going to replace this with an image. So you will put a picture in here that you think, and you can just get this from the internet. You don't need to draw it. You just go into Google Images, or you can go and insert image, and you can search the web here this way using Google Images within Google Slides. But you're going to put a picture that best represents each of these vocabulary terms. And once again, the definition should be in your own words, not just copying and paste from the internet, but in your own words, because that's going to help you best remember the definitions for each of these terms. Okay. On Schoolhouse Rock, we actually went over this in class, and we actually did this together in class. So again, just in case you forgot, and I went ahead and I put some additional instructions here, and I'm going to add, this is called Enhanced, and I'm actually attaching this because I added some additional resources. So I'm attaching this slideshow to the instructions in Google Classroom. So yours might look a little bit differently, the one that you're working on, but if you click on Enhanced, then you're going to see any additional things that I may have added since the time that you got this assigned to you. Okay, so the 6 goals, which we already talked about in class, and I already copied and pasted for you if you were in class that day, I copied and pasted it into the chat. And so what you're doing is you're breaking down each of these 6 goals listed in the preamble to the U.S. Constitution, right? And then we watched Schoolhouse Rock, and then we talked about these, explain why each was included. So for example, to form a more perfect union, because our country was an imperfect union, right? We were barely together under the Articles of Confederation, and we were trying to create a stronger national government, a stronger, more cohesive country. So that would kind of be the response for number 1 there, to form a more perfect union. You could put that in your own words, of course. And then each of these: establish justice, that's going to have something to do with the court system; domestic tranquility, it's going to be something to do with Shays' Rebellion. I don't want to give all the answers away. But anyway, so each of these is kind of 2 parts. Explain why each was included and what problem under the Articles of Confederation was each of these goals trying to solve. So that's page 3. Moving on now to page 4. So for this, you're going to use the textbook, and you can either use your book, or in the enhanced version, again, look for this attached to the assignment in Google Classroom. You can click here, and I actually went ahead, because I'm so nice, I went ahead and just scanned the textbook page for you. So that's right there, if you would like that. So you're going to explain, for example, you're going to explain what checks and balances is, and then you're going to talk about, like, what does it look like? What's an example of what that looks like? So an example of checks and balances, for example, would be when Congress is accusing the president of abuse of power, then Congress can impeach the president. That's what checks and balances looks like, right? An example of federalism, explain what federalism is and then what it looks like, explain what separation of powers is. Again, this is all, like, it's all here. It is all here in the textbook. Okay, so that's page 4. Moving now to page 5. For this one, you're going to watch this Brain Pop video in the enhanced version. I went ahead, if you're having trouble because you forgot, like, I taught you how to set up a Brain Pop login, which, by the way, here, I can show you. If you go to Google Classroom, which I'm going to show you right now, you can actually go in, and if you look in Zoom code and other no, not here. Scroll down to the bottom, start of the school year. Wait, Brain Pop. Where's Brain Pop? I know that I taught you how to set up your brain. There it is right there. So this is the instructions in Google Classroom. if you scroll down to start of the year, you can set up your BrainPop account. But if that's just too complicated for you, then I also have it here on Edpuzzle, and I put in some questions. You don't get any credit for it, but you can at least test yourself along the way. Just click here to watch it on Edpuzzle. You're going to watch the BrainPop video, and then you are going to read the directions, describe the makeup of each of the three. So describe what is the legislative branch, what's the executive, what's the judicial branch. For each branch, include an explanation of how it can exert power. Just one example of how it can exert a power over the other two branches. That's checks and balances, basically. So what is it? And then one example of checks and balances. Honestly, if you've been paying attention, you could probably even do this without watching the BrainPop. But the BrainPop video is like 5 or 6 minutes. It's fun and it's helpful. Speaking of BrainPop, you actually are going to want to watch the BrainPop video because that's going to help you with the matching on here. Use the BrainPop video from the previous slide to get these answers. So you just, double click. By the way, whenever you get a blue box and you're not sure what to do with it, just double click. Double click, and then, a system in which no one government branch has too much power. Well, that's either separation of powers or checks and balances. Since separation of powers isn't on here, it's checks and balances B. And then you hit enter a couple of times, and then a tool, the legislative, well, that's impeachment H, right? And you just go from there. Okay, I'm going to stop giving you answers. You can get all the answers, by the way, from just watch the BrainPop or use the textbook or there are a number of different sources you can use. We're now on to slide 7. So slide 7, you're going to watch the video on checks and balances. Here, this is a BrainPop video, or excuse me, this is a crash course video over here. And then you'll watch this short video, TED Ed. This is like 3 or 4 minutes. And then you fill in the blanks. You see there, you click their blanks here. You can fill in those blanks there. Okay. That is just watch a couple of short videos and then answer those questions. This is the drag and drop portion. So this is, you're going to click, for example, if you click here, Article 1, and you click on the link, then it's going to take you to Article 1 of the Constitution. This is in your textbook as well. So it doesn't matter. Like, the U.S. Constitution is the U.S. Constitution. It just really just depends on where you want to find it. If you use your textbook, then you don't need to keep going back and forth between tabs. You could just use your textbook. But anyway, you're going to go back and forth. So Article 1, Section 1, all legislative powers herein granted shall be vested in Congress, which shall consist of a Senate and a House of Representatives. So you got to find the section here. Where is the part where it says there are 2 houses of Congress? Well, it's right here. So then you take this, you grab it, and you drag it. Okay, again, if you click in the middle, then you're going to be editing the text, and it's going to be frustrating for you. So you got to grab like the edge, right? So, and I'll also, if you're watching the video, I will also give you a little hint here that this is Section 10 right here. It's basically saying what the states can't do. These are powers for Congress, not for the states. So I already gave you a couple right there. But you basically just read the sections, and then you do the matching. Okay, I'm going to undo those. Okay, and now number 9. There's actually nothing on slide 9 for you to fill in. It's just the graphic here, and then the video. You watch this is another Schoolhouse Rock video. And the questions you're going to answer right here. So the questions are at the top. You watch the video, and you can also use the graphic here. And honestly, again, if you look at the graphic, you can figure everything else out. You don't need to watch the video, but the video is fun. So then on slide 10, then you just answer the questions down here in the yellow box, right? So just answer those 9 questions right there. Okay. We're moving on now to Article 2. We're kind of picking up the pace here. Article 2, you're going to put a picture of your favorite, of the current president or your favorite president. Or you could put a president-elect, because we're about to have, Joe Biden is about to become the next president of the United States. That's up to you. I want to teach you something really quickly. My favorite president is Abraham Lincoln. So I'm going to put Abraham Lincoln and watch this. You're going to think this is, I hope you think this is cool, because I think it's cool. Oh, that's kind of pixely. I don't want pixely. That's clear, but I really like that picture. I'm being a little picky now. Okay, let's go to Wikipedia, because I really want that portrait. Yes. Open image in new tab. There we go. Oh, all right. That's big enough. That's all I need. Okay, so watch this. Copy image. Ooh, this is going to be so amazing. Watch this. Watch this. Okay, so I'm going to paste. I'm on a Mac, so it's Command V. It would be Control V on a PC or on a Chromebook. So, but I want the oval because the oval looks so dignified. Watch this. Oh, this is going to blow your mind. Look, I'm doing, so click on the image and this is mask. You see this little drop down, mask, shapes. I want the oval. Give me the oval. Circle. There. Oh, it did it. Oh, I'm so excited. Okay, so now we can just get rid of this. And yeah, look at that. That's cool. You could even put like a border. Oh, I can make that border. Look. Yes. Look at how dignified that looks. I love it. Love it. Okay, so anyway, you can do that. And then down here, you would type, oh, I'm going to give him all caps because he's worth it. Abraham Lincoln. And I'm going to bold. There we go. Boom. And then qualifications, you double click in the box and then you type there, type there, type there. Just respond to all the prompts. Okay, I'm going to undo all of this. There we go. Okay, so that's how you do slide 11. Slide 12, now Article 3. Notice we're going faster here. This is all in the Supreme Court, and we actually learned a bunch about the Supreme Court already upon the death of Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg. So you're going to watch, if you only had to watch one video, just watch this one. You don't need to watch, you already learned about judicial review. If you wanted to have a refresher, you could watch these 2 videos. That's fine. But this is the only video you need to watch. And then to answer these 3 questions, you just click on Article 3. Right? And then click on the link and then read Article 3 and answer these 3, just respond to these 3 prompts right there. That's all you need to do on the judicial branch because we've already learned a ton about the Supreme Court and the judicial branch. So now Article 4, this is all about the states, the powers of the states and the responsibilities of the states. So this is another drag and drop. So again, you're just going to like drag it and drop it into the appropriate section. That is, okay, that's the extent of Article 4. Article 5, excuse me, now we kind of take a side, little detour here on federalism, also known as the federal system. This is the way that there are some powers that exclusively belong to just the national government, the federal government, the United States, and some powers that are just for the states. And then there are some that overlap, concurrent. So for example, I'll give you one example here. And if you're paying attention, then you just type this and I give you an answer. Powers of the national government. To raise an army and navy, right? Armed forces, the military. The national government is the only one that can do that. So you would type that here. Only for the states, education. That is the sole, I mean, there's the United States Department of Education that supports education, but really education is the responsibility of the states, right? Election laws are the responsibility of the states as well. Police and fire department, responsibility of the states. Look, I gave you 3 answers right here. Concurrent powers are stuff that both the national and the state governments can do. You can find all about it right here when you click here, and you can learn more about the federal system. This is a whole article on that. And then concurrent powers is like the stuff that they share. It's also called shared powers. I'm going to type shared in here, because that's what they are, concurrent or shared powers. So a shared power, an example of that would be the power to tax, because the national government, the government of the United States can tax, and so can the state governments. So that's slide 14. Slide 15, you're just going to look at Article 5. This is all in the amendment process. There are 2 different ways to amend the Constitution. So you're going to explain way 1 and explain way 2, and then answer that question down at the bottom. Okay, slide 16. This is going to be a little bit more in-depth. You're going to spend a little bit more time on here. Now, one student who doesn't watch this video is going to say, Mr. Ippolito, why does it say First Amendment, First Amendment, First Amendment? Mr. Ippolito, clearly you must have made a mistake. No, I did not make a mistake. If you read this right here, it says the 5 freedoms of the First Amendment go here. So there are 5 different freedoms. There's freedom of speech, freedom of the press, freedom of religion, the right to petition, and the right to assemble. Those are the 5 freedoms of the First Amendment. You break it down, you explain each one of those 5 freedoms here. And then you put a picture that represents each here. And then you'll notice I've skipped some because there are some that just we're not going to spend as much time focusing on. But the ones that I think are the most important are the ones that I have focused on here. Amendment 2, 4, 5, 6, and 8 here. So that is how you're going to do this. Go in depth, spend the time, watch the videos, take the time to do it right. That is slide 16. Slide 17, this is just focusing solely on the Bill of Rights. So you're going to just read the directions, fill in the space with the number of the amendment. Some numbers will be used more than once. So there you go on that. And then this is just the rest of the amendments here, and you're just going to fill in using the blue strip here. And then number 19, notice there's a blue box here. This is all you're going to answer. Don't worry about this. Don't even worry about the second part. We just may not have enough time to get to it. So simply you're going to just fill in the blue box here. And then here's slide 20, Articles 6 and 7. There's part of this assignment that I'm going to cut short. I definitely want you to do the drag and drop. So for example, they always brag about being the first state. Delaware was the first to ratify. So we're going to put Delaware right there. And you're going to put them in the order of ratification, right? So you would find that you click here and you learn more about the ratification of the Constitution, and you can learn, and basically you put them in order of ratification. And honestly, if you did a Google search for order of ratification, then boom, like there it is right there. Just Google it. Okay. I'm going to undo that, drop that back into place. I do want you to answer this for sure. And wait for Mr. Ippolito's instructions on the rest of this, because I don't know how much more I want you to do of this. Definitely do the timeline. Definitely answer this question. Ask me in a few days about this, because I'm not sure if we're actually going to do that. If we're going to do it together as a class or how we're going to do that. Okay. And then this is so good. This is all about ratification. And you are going to answer these 3 questions, and you're going to look at this cartoon. And if you're like, Mr. Ippolito, this cartoon is too small, you can click it and you can make it as big as you'd like, right? And you might be like, Mr. Ippolito, that's still not big enough. So you can actually click here and you can click on this article, and it actually shows a number of, so this is a kind of a more simplified version. You can actually see the evolution. This political cartoon appeared over and over and over and over again. And one of the questions I'm going to ask you is, why did it keep appearing over and over and over and over again? Because it was a big deal. Why was it such a big deal? And why did this cartoon keep appearing in different iterations, different forms over and over and over again in different newspapers during the time of the ratification? So that's going to be you could read that article and find out. We're going to talk about it in class, but you should answer these 3 questions. And then finally, very last but not least, this is on ratification, and this is the Federalists and the Anti-Federalists, and this is going to be the birth of political parties in America. The Federalists and the Anti-Federalists. The Federalists are going to be led by Alexander Hamilton, the man on the $10 bill. The Anti-Federalists are going to be led by none other than Thomas Jefferson. Thomas Jefferson is going to be very much opposed to the Constitution. Alexander Hamilton very much in favor of the Constitution, wanting it to get ratified. So you're going to read a little bit more about, and I will also be helping you, teaching you about this, but you can use these resources here to learn more about the Federalists and learn more about the Anti-Federalists. And then, and there's even a video on the Federalists and Anti-Federalists. And here's some more resources there as well. But if you basically read this article and this article, you can learn all about them. And we'll go over this in class as well. Okay. That is the Constitution Interactive Notebook 2020, an explanation on all of those. And if you have any questions, please ask the questions in class, because that's why we have our class time, is so that we can interact and discuss and figure all this stuff out. But this is how you can do it all on your own and independently. So I hope that was helpful. And thanks so much. Have a great day. Bye-bye.